All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mortgage Coach 10X Tuesday interview. Every Tuesday at 9 o'clock Pacific, I interview amazing people, and I've been doing this for over 16 years now. And the thing I love about this 10X Tuesday is usually it's just me and someone else. I try to make it so 70–80% of the time it's someone that's killing it in the market today. It is a mortgage professional. This year, I've been interviewing more real estate professionals. I plan to continue interviewing real estate professionals. In fact, I'm going to be asking Chantry if we can interview him in one of his realtors at some point in the not too distant future. But it's an incredibly exciting time in mortgage. I am live streaming this from the Housing Wire event. It's called The Gathering. It is the first time where one of the best and most well-known real estate events, which is called The Gathering of the Eagles, which is just legendary, event of some of the most innovative, most influential people in real estate have been going to for a couple decades. And Housing Wire purchased Realtrends, and so now they have it. And this is the first year where they put Housing Wire's annual event together, which has always been mortgage, and they have put the Gathering Eagles together, and they're calling it The Gathering. And it's been extraordinary. Everybody on stage is an executive, a leader in real estate. I've had dozens of conversations over the past, it started on Sunday, so I was here grinding on Sunday, and I've spoken to countless leaders of real estate agents. I've spoken to the #1 realtor in America. I actually posted a little 5-minute interview I did with Jason Mitchell in LinkedIn on social media today. But it's a really unique time in mortgage, and so I'm excited about today's guest, Chantry Abbott. I've interviewed before. He's a top producing mortgage professional, but more importantly, he is a top producing manager. He runs a branch for Guild. His branch was honored and distinguished with the Branch of the Year. And Guild, when you look at Guild, the size, the scope, the quality of lender they are, to be the Branch of the Year means there's a really special leader behind that. And so, Chantry, welcome to the 10X Tuesday. I'm fired up about this conversation.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having me.
So how do you see, as a person how long have you been in this business?
16 years. So I actually kind of got in like 2008, essentially, just by accident.
Yeah, the best time to get in,
Rode the wave, man. Yeah, it was. It was actually a blessing, big blessing for me.
How do you describe this opportunity brought on by the NAR settlement? And we have relatively high interest rates. How do you see this market?
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity for the buyer's agents to really step out. Like if I look in my small little market, there's 2,000 real estate professionals. And there's probably really about 20, maybe even 10 or 15 that actually take the majority of the listings. And it's because they have a really great listing presentation. And they've learned how to sit down at a table with a family and express their value and get a commitment to sign an agreement and move forward. Where I think a lot of the buyer's agents have just kind of flew by the seat of their pants and shown houses as needed and called us lenders on nights and weekends for a quick pre-qual so they can go show them a house. But they've never really had to do a really good job of articulating their value. It's just kind of like, well, if you need me, I'll hurry and help you. And I think it's caused them to run around, and they get really frustrated with their clients because the client has never made a commitment to working with them, so to speak. They've just accidentally helped them because they picked up the phone when they called them. And I don't think that's going to be the same anymore. And us mortgage people, the ones that are very successful, we always meet with our clients and express our value, and that's kind of one of the things I wanted to go into a little bit today. And so if we as mortgage people can take this to our buyer's agents, they're for sure going to be some real estate agents that get out because they can't have that conversation. They're not comfortable talking about commissions. They're not comfortable getting a client commitment or a buyer broker signed. And so we want to take it on us. I want all my real estate agents that refer me business and all my friends to stay in the industry. So here's a huge opportunity for how can we work together?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Before I start asking you, call it questions that deliver on the headline today. And again, headline today, guys, is how to turn loan officers and realtors into advisors. And that's been a term that's used a lot at this event. When I interviewed Jason Mitchell for just a little 5-minute quick hit, and I had him and I were having a conversation offline, And we talked about how realtors need to stop using the term realtor and become a real estate advisor and what that means. And a real estate advisor needs to work with a mortgage advisor. But before we get into that, to become the branch of the year, what are some of the metrics that you track? Like I interviewed Sean Herrero a lot, and he was the number 22 loan officer at Cross Country, but he was the number 6. Just call it, a scoring, based off of conversion, based off of price exceptions, based off of they even, measure touches for pre-approval, there's like 16 metrics that really make up quality. You don't need to share exactly I'm not asking you to share the criteria that Guild uses, but what do you use? What are the criteria that you use as a producing branch manager to be the best you can be for the company you work for? What are some of those metrics?
Well, I think the number one is revenue per loan. So when I start thinking about what's valuable to me in a loan officer, production obviously matters, but I think everybody takes production as number one. And production really shouldn't be number one, because I'm really, as a branch manager, I'm not in the game to see who can do the most loans. I'm in the game to see who can make the most net profit. And so if I've got loan officers that are doing all kinds of volume, but they're giving it away in lender concessions, and we're basically losing money to have them, if you just think of that from a pure business standpoint, that's just nuts. And I think that we as managers and in the mortgage industry, we just chase production all the time. And I get it. I do too. I get why loan officers do it, because their income's based on it. But the best loan officer to me would be revenue per loan, customer satisfaction score, how they treat our team. So does our internal team really enjoy working with them? Do their customers enjoy working with them? Do they get 5-star ratings? Do they have a lot of repeat and referral business? Are they good to the support staff inside of Guild, outside of our branch, like our underwriting team and our marketing folks and our compliance division? All those kinds of things are really the most important part. You give me a mid-level producer that's 10 out of 10 in all of those, I will take that over a top producer that's maybe running off processing or giving away the farm per loan. And we weren't the biggest branch in Guild. There's about 200, I don't know now after the acquisition of Academy, but I think there was in the neighborhood of about 250 branches. And we were only, I want to say, about 17th or 18th in total volume. So it wasn't just based on volume. It was really,
well, by the way,
on...
only.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, that's still awesome, but keep going.
No, you're good. So a lot of it was revenue per loan, profitability. I think we shifted really fast, faster than most in 2022, when the market started to slide. I think a lot of people hung on for too long and didn't make the necessary moves to remain profitable. And we did, I think, quicker than most, which made our 2023 look really good. And I think we took a motto as a branch. I think in March of 2022, the mistake a lot of loan officers made was that, well, rates are going to get better. Once we started seeing rates hit the ceiling, it was like, well, rates are going to get better. Rates are going to get better. We're just going to kind of hang around for rates to get better. And we were kind of always saying as a branch, like, what if they don't? I can't business plan for them getting better, but I can business plan for them not getting better. And if they get better, then that's just icing on the cake. So I think we did a good job as a team. And our business still went down. It's not like we didn't have a reduction in our volume. Even if you look back at, if I take out 2020 and 2021 and I look back at 2019, our volume was still higher in 2019 than it is now. But I think our pie of market share got bigger. Well, I know our pie of market share got bigger, and that's what I was proud of, is that instead of just sitting there waiting for things to get better, we just said, what if they don't? What's our plan if they don't?
Yeah, no, I love that motto. What's our business plan if rates don't get better? And I don't think we're any different today. While I do think rates will get better, the question is when. And it's probably not in the next month, 2 months. And I would push everyone listening to this, if you really focus on that, you just worry about getting better, doing hard better, you're going to crush it even more when the market comes. Chantry, one last, call it just business fundamental question before we dig into this, NAR topic and turning loan officers into advisors, et cetera. I have this thesis that when you really look at someone's conversion or sales score, like, are you a good salesperson? I could look at your conversion and your concessions, and I could really rate your fitness score, just like a doctor can look at your blood and your heart rate and how much sugar you have running through your blood system. And they can like, hey, this is a healthy body. This is not a healthy body. The same way a doctor can do that with, different biomarkers. I think the two core biomarkers of a, badass elite salesperson are conversion and concessions. Any thoughts you have on that?
Yeah, conversion, concessions, customer satisfaction.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. By the way, there is Moneyball Mortgage right there. Your volume matters. How many loans you close matters, but concessions, conversion, and customer satisfaction matters most. And I love that you added internal customer satisfaction to that, because that's how you really build a sustainable, awesome culture of great human beings that everybody wants to be around. All right. So let's transition into turning loan officers and advisors. I mean, you're a mortgage coach. You're a grandmaster mortgage coach. You have built a branch where your loan officers use a mortgage coach. They are mortgage advisors. How did you do that? What were the leadership fundamentals? And if you could just describe at a high level of how you turned your branch into a branch of mortgage coaches.
Yeah. You could probably correct me exactly on the dates, but I don't think I started jumped into mortgage coach until like 2020. So like in 2019,
I think that's right.
We were fairly old school. I had an Excel spreadsheet that we'd show a borrower face-to-face 3 options. And it was kind of the same thought as what you were trying to do with mortgage coach, but it wasn't anywhere near on that same level. And so I personally took the first jump into mortgage coach inside of our branch. And part of why I did it was especially really jumped in with COVID because we're big video. We're way big into video. I don't meet with every borrower gets a video from a loan officer. We're a fairly small market. We're about 200,000 people. So typically we can get our borrowers to come meet with us. But if we can't, we're always reverting to video, Zoom. We want to make a personal connection if we have somebody moving out of the area. And then every single Wednesday at 8 a.m., we have a sales training that's pretty mostly mandatory for every loan officer. I mean, every once in a while they miss, but I don't have any loan officers inside.
What day is that again?
Wednesday at 8 a.m.
Okay.
That's not like I don't have any loan officers that just don't come. I have one that's a little bit tougher for her schedule. She doesn't live too close to us and she's got kids and things, but like most of the time she's either in person or on Zoom with us. And a lot of those times we're going into what's working. I actually try to have all the other loan officers pull up what they're doing well, what's working for them, what they're struggling with. So, I mean, just from a branch manager standpoint, I always come with something. And a lot of times I'll take a 3-minute, 4-minute, 5-minute snippet of one of these trainings you're doing, watch it, discuss it, get somebody else that's a loan officer to show us what they've had success with. What's a big win you had? What's a loss that you had? And a lot of those times we're literally pulling up a mortgage coach TCA and walking through it.
So I just want to pause. I've interviewed countless top branch managers, and they all have consistent training experiences where they're teaching best practices. So I've never met a killer producing branch leader where everyone in their branch is killing it. Like I've met a lot of producing branch managers that are killing it, and they got a few people killing it. They got a lot of people not killing it that don't do that. But when you really, like Daniel Saw, who is someone that I interviewed multiple times last year, who's got, the top branch, not only within FM lending, but I mean, it's the top platform in Columbus, Ohio. They, took the #1 market share last year. And how he brings people into the company is 2 weeks of training. And I think he said 2 or 3 days of that are like on how to be a mortgage advisor using Mortgage Coach. By the way, I'll put a link to that interview down below. I highly recommend you listen to it. I did just like, hey, how do you turn loan officers into mortgage coaches? Great interview. But I just really want to push every producing branch manager. What day of the week are you doing 1-hour training where you're teaching best practices? I also want to make sure everyone called out that he's using content from our channel. You heard like, hey, I'll grab 5-minute snips. That means he's watching it, and then he's curating it, and then he's delivering a discussion of best practices. Anything else you want to call out around what you're doing and how you're doing it that you think other producing branch managers should hear right now?
I have a fairly open discussion, a minimum quarterly, and don't make it a huge secret on what concessions are. So I almost want that to be a little bit of a game. I don't really have anybody that's really horrible, but I've got a couple really great producers. One, I think you've met Scott Stout. He's got really, really great. He's a President's Club level producer, very low concession figure. And so I get to use him and my team as a, hey, why are we doing more business than you and having less concessions than you? I'm not using this as an opportunity to change your comp plan, or what you'd have to at some point if they can't figure it out. But what I'm really trying to use that as an opportunity is where's the training opportunity? What is he doing different there? What are we doing different that you're not? Where are you missing it inside of your business? What could we improve it on? And if you want me to dive into that, actually, there's a little piece of that I've got a couple little things that I'm going to share at the sales event that Shayla's doing in like 3 weeks too.
Yeah, I would love to do that. So a couple of notes. So yeah, that I interviewed Shayla on Friday, the last interview, guys, that is in the link. And she talked about that event. Sounds like it's going to be pretty extraordinary. And anytime you want to give more about that, but yeah, let's dig into that a little bit, because concessions are still a big issue. Profitable production is an issue. And I truly believe that when you look at the loan officers that are, they have the best conversion, the lowest concessions, it's because they're articulating their value the best. And I think, the whole theme of this session that you and I are having is value articulation in a way that you help convert. And if you can do that, you're going to win. So however you want to weave that into the conversation, let's go.
And it's more valuable now than ever. We've been kind of working on this. And now that we are going to take to the market as well as part of our presentation, is we are almost going to be the reason that real estate professional from a buyer's agent standpoint gets that buyer broker signed. We're going to articulate that value as part of our presentation. So I'm going to want to share that with our real estate professionals.
Yeah.
So,
well, we want to see that. Let's, so real quick, I just want to kind of divide the call right now. We have heard at a high level at how he's turning loan officers into advisors. Again, very high level. I'll have other interviews of Chantrys down below if you want to hear more details on that, because him and I have talked about this before in full-on interviews. Let's transition to what you're doing in the market and then how you are helping realtors. So, show us some examples, and if they also talk about concessions, let's do that.
Okay. And I think this goes well, is that for loan officers, build your plan. Like what do you want the client experience to be? Are they going to fill out an online application to start? Are they going to meet in your office? Are you going to send them a mortgage coach or pre-qual? Are you going to send them a rate lock? Are you going to meet with them at rate lock? I think what happens is we don't have a plan. And so every borrower gets treated a little differently. And unfortunately, every borrower ends up getting treated how they tell us to treat them. When, if you think about the doctor, you don't go tell a doctor what you need. The doctor says, well, here's the steps, right? And so I think it's a huge miss in our industry. And I think it's an even bigger miss in the buyer's agents and the real estate agents, the buyer's agents in meeting with their buyers. I think they just let them control how this is going to go. So I'll blow through a couple of these slides here, but the 3 frustration points were margin compression. So one of the things we did, as I said, revenue per loan, we didn't reduce any loan officer compensation. And I actually didn't reduce any of our branch margins. We just worked really hard at holding price. So some of the other loan officers, and even within our company, they would put a maximum compensation a loan officer get. They were just trying to get really creative of how to stay competitive. We didn't want to make less per loan. And so we've worked as a team really hard to get better at this. The second frustration is you hustle for a borrower and they ditch you. And this could be the same for a realtor. You go spend all this time showing somebody and they leave you. And then for me, I love the leadership and the growing of the branch and leading other loan officers. And so I really wanted to get myself out of the 40 hours a week of production. I'm still probably 20 or 30 hours a week in personal production, but I've got a really great guy on my team that he will meet with borrowers, he will lock rate, and he goes through all the mortgage coach stuff. He's been with me for about 1.5 to 2 years now. And so we needed a system that was teachable, repeatable, measurable, and we could get better. Okay. So then I can look at a loan officer and say, here's what we believe to be kind of what our workflow is. What piece of this are you missing? Or I would get a loan officer that come to me and say, I need this really big concession. And I would just basically start asking the question, okay, talk through this with me. Why are we giving this? What have we done? What have we met with the borrower? So I'm happy to share this. This is going to be the presentation I am giving it at Shayla's deal. But how are they referred to you? If all your business is web leads and there's no real warm connection and you haven't built a triangle for trust, they're more likely to shop you. Have you built a emotional motivation for them? Why are they buying this house? Why are they moving? Why are they relocating? Is it because they have 2 kids and a dog and need a backyard? We need to know all of those things. Have you met with them in person? This who else is, did you invite them? Here's probably a big aha. I've taught this to some of the guild branches, and at this point they all were like, oh my gosh, I know that's why I lost my last deal. So everybody, as I'm going through this, think about the last 2 or 3 borrowers that either rate shopped you or you ended up having to lose, or you ended up having to give a big concession on, and where did you miss? What didn't you do? So the who else is, did you have an in-person meeting with the actual borrower themselves? And did you ask them, is there anybody else that's going to be a part of this decision-making process in this home buying journey with you? They typically say, yes, there is. And our answer at that point will be, great. What we want to do is plan this meeting that we're going to have with you, just with them included, because we want them to be involved. We want you to feel comfortable that you can lean on them and us for advice, because I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans over my career because I set and pre-approved them. We had them ready to go. And at the very end, they left me because their dad told them to go use their buddy. Well, if I would have had their dad in the meeting with me, I think there's a pretty good chance I could have earned their business. Do you want anything to say there? Want me to keep going?
No, well, I guess I just want to connect the dots, everyone. Like, guys, you're getting a master class in conversion and wowing a customer at getting speed to need. And I love the fact that, one of the biggest differences between really good salespeople and great salespeople are the little nuances around, making sure you're getting all the decision makers in the room. Like, a lot of people don't do that. I also want to call out one of the cool things about MortgageCoach is that you could give that link, you put a video on it, everyone, because, even when you get the husband and the wife in the room, you didn't have the buddy at work that owns a bunch of investment properties and he's trying to sell his loan officer. And you didn't get the father-in-law that's helping with the down payment. And so I want to put an exclamation mark on, the importance of getting stakeholders into the conversation and the importance of creating a great mortgage coach experience with a video on it. It not only, the salesmanship and the lesson that he's teaching you right now matters, but you're expanding that, and you're expanding it in a way that if you're not a mortgage coach, you just can't do that. You're not, everyone is not seeing your advice and seeing how you show up. So anyways, I love this process. I hope people are, individual LOs are really taking note. And I hope managers are like, you're helping them with their next branch meeting.
Yeah. So I think this fits 3 people, right? The branch manager to coach his loan officers, the team, the loan officer, maybe 4, the loan officer that wants to just improve their conversion, reduce their lender concessions, or maybe they want to grow a team like I did, to where you can have somebody else on your team that can do some of this for you. So it doesn't always have to be you. And then I think the most important potentially piece to this right now would be, I can teach this exact same thing to real estate professionals because it's exactly the same. Now, the follow-up after the meeting, Dave, you couldn't hit the nail on the head better. Even if they are here, I want a video that says, guys, it was great to connect with you. Here's the next steps. Here's a quick reminder of those numbers that we reviewed, and just kind of walk through what was the most important thing, and leave that as a mortgage coach video follow-up, because then they can reference back to it. And we're including the real estate professional on that. So now the real estate professional just got your 3-minute or 2-minute summary of how the meeting went and where it's at. Did we do or send anything above and beyond? It could be something as simple as they have young kids and you mailed them a Bernstein's Bear Moving Day book. It could be that they're a golfer and you send them some golf balls. It could be our area. A lot of people like the hiking and trails. And so we have a handful of local maps. Could you mail that with a handwritten card? What could you do above and beyond what was expected? Anything from a raving fan standpoint. Here's the next big one that we usually get the aha is that we want to get there. So a big advantage that real estate professionals do have from a buyer's agent standpoint or a listing agent, but I'm thinking in terms of a buyer's agent, is they can get a buyer broker signed. They can have this really powerful meeting, find out all the wants and needs, express how they're going to solve all of their problems and help their family accomplish their goals. And then they can close with, at this point, I'm willing to make a commitment to helping you guys accomplish A, B, and C goals. Are you guys comfortable committing your loyalty to me as your real estate professional? If so, the next step would be to us make that mutual agreement. And here's what the buyer broker needs. Us as lenders can't quite get anything signed like that. But what we personally do is that we say, look, we're going to be an active part of this home buying journey. Our local reputation and our proactive outreach to listing agents on your behalf to help you get your offer accepted in a competitive environment. And if you're comfortable with it, what we'd like to do at this point is you're pre-approved and ready to go shop. The next step in our process is we will actually send your file in through our underwriting process. By doing that, Guild is spending thousands of dollars paying our in-house processing team, our underwriters, potentially a processing assistant, and then you may not end up buying a house. And so we just need to know that if we go through all this process and we help you through that journey, we help you get your offer accepted, and we spend time to get you a full-blown underwriting approval right now, based on everything we've talked about and everything I've showed you in terms of numbers, are you comfortable committing your loyalty to us to help you along that home buying journey? Now, I can't get anything in writing, but I found that the verbal commitment and just making them understand how important we can be in getting their offer accepted, in writing the correct offer, and going into what our underwriting approval really means as terms of closing quickly and those kind of things. So we're really selling in the meeting, we're really selling our value is the right loan program and right offer strategy, getting your offer accepted, even though potentially you may not be the highest price. When you write an offer, there's terms and there's price. The lender that you're using is part of the terms, so we get to be part of the terms. I can show you how to be competitive on price. And are you guys comfortable moving forward with this? So that's part of our presentation. And then did you check in with them when they're shopping? I'll get the loan officer comes to me and wants this big concession, or we lost them. And I'm like, you haven't talked to him for 3 months. You pre-approved them and lost them. They got confused. They didn't know what's going on. They lost their price range. They forgot what payments were going to be, and they just kind of started over with somebody else. And then at the last minute, they remembered you again. So if they shopped you at that point, we didn't stay in touch. And then the last two are, did we show them rate lock options in video, Zoom, or in person? All of these are done with MortgageCoach. Okay, so if it's a very easily borrower, past client, we're pretty confident in what they're going to do. I don't have any level that they're going to be confused or shop us. Then typically that will be a phone call that says, congratulations on getting your offer accepted. Are these still your goals? If so, I'm going to send you 3 different rate choices based on what I think is going to make the most sense to you, along with the video. Let me know which one makes the most sense. If it's a complicated situation, a easily confused borrower, then we're going to want to do that either in Zoom or in person. But we found if we've met with them the one time before we send them out at the pre-approval shopping point, a lot of times just the video is going to work. And then the last but not least is we get a verbal commitment of locking or floating and having a good part of that conversation. So to me, the biggest part about building this out, I was just so excited about the NAR thing. So I'm like, gosh, we're already doing this. I could take this and coach all my real estate professionals. And if I just simplified that, I just say five main ingredients to increase conversion. Did you make a personal and visual connection? Did you demonstrate value? Did you involve any outside influencers? What word did you use, Dave? Instead of when I said their dad, you used the word that I liked better than influencers. Bring all the parties to the table, but you said something else to that.
God, I don't know. Stakeholders, maybe.
Stakeholders, yeah.
Decision makers.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of folks influencing it. And I do think the way you as a mortgage coach bring them all together and make that a point, like, how is your loan officer doing this? Like, how is your loan officer building trust in you? How is your loan officer articulating value for you? Another thing that's come up a lot here at this event is that one of the most valuable things a real estate agent does, aside from I'm a market expert, I negotiate well, I help you achieve the house of your dreams. But when you look at, financial freedom in America, it comes from net worth in real estate. And when you can, as a realtor say that, hey, I'm going to do all these transactional things for you, but I'm going to help you achieve financial freedom faster. I'm going to help you accelerate your net worth with real estate faster. And then because they're working with you in the way you deliver a mortgage coach, it's a much bigger thing than just buying a home. You're going to help that family achieve financial freedom and home ownership together and accelerate it. So that was one thing you might want to throw in here and make it 6 main ingredients of value. Or maybe it's just part of demonstrate value. But I do think that, like, one of my messages that I'm going to be saying from a lot of stages this year is loan officers stop selling loans, realtors stop selling homes, and start selling net worth growth that leads to financial freedom.
Love it.
And that is a much more compelling offer to the consumer.
Love it. Love it. To go into that, actually, one of the very common, it's kind of an untraditional mortgage coach, TCA'S, but I've been teaching one webinar and one in-person first-time homebuyer seminar for about the last year, basically. And I lead those off with the exact same story every time. I'm sure my real estate agents are like shaking their head but they all tell me they love it. And I talk about my story. I actually pull this up. So let me share this here.
Hey, real quick, a few people have asked if you're going to be willing to share the slides. Will you? Yeah. So guys, we will put those in the Trust Engine Facebook group. We have a little files area in there, which, by the way, is full of gold. So in Trust Engine Facebook, there'll be the files. And then if we can put those into a link, if you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a link down below. So stay tuned on those.
And the biggest thing I could tell them, I'm going to promote our event because I think it's going to be, there's a lot of great events, but I truly believe it's going to be the best event that they could go to all year would be the Shayla Gifford Slay with Shay event, where I'll be there with many, many other really good producers. In fact, I'm surprised. I feel like I don't even deserve to be in the room. There's so many great people there, but it's going to be a blast. It's May 15th and 16th. And so if anybody's looking for something, I think it's going to be the best thing you could attend, but happy to share it for sure.
Yeah. Let's put a link down below to that. I interviewed Shayla recently, and the way I would put it for anyone listening to this call right now is this is a transformational time in housing, real estate, mortgage. And I'm really proud of the content we create in this YouTube channel. And I feel like I bring a lot of value, but here's the deal, guys. It's virtual. And there is no, when it comes to having a transformational experience, that happens when you're with human beings in the same room. And Shayla Gifford is a transformational leader. So I do think it's a special event. I don't know. We really sold it hard on Friday, so I don't know if there's any seats left.
You're good.
But if there are any, there's probably just a couple. Check the links down below. Slay with Shay, May 15th and 16th. I'm a huge advocate of that. Oh, who's this guy? What's up?
Dave Savage in the house.
Couple thousand people. Say hi. Greg, share everybody.
Hello, everybody. Love your stuff, man. Love your stuff.
And by the way, if you're not following this guy on LinkedIn, tell them how to spell your name so they can look you up and check you out on LinkedIn.
S-H-E-R.
Sheer. S-H-E-R.
Sheer. Call me Sheer. Call me Share. Whatever.
I call him.
My guy right here. Love this guy. See you later.
Yep. He is one of the owners of NFM Lending. Great leader. What he's doing on LinkedIn, conversations he's putting out there in the market are incredible. But back to Shay, link down below. Check it out.
Cool.
That's what happens when you're at live events. Your friends
awesome.
Sneak up on you and have fun with you.
Yeah. So I want to share my story, and most of us probably have this story. And I even tell the younger loan officers in my office, I'm like, just share my story. It doesn't have to be yours. You tell it. So every first time, I've probably told this story for the last 12 months in a first-time home buyer in person and so I do one in person and one in a Zoom so 2 a month for at least the last 12 months. And I tell basically especially for every first-time home buyer that personally sits down with me, I I always want them to understand how passionate I am about home ownership and how real estate can open doors to wealth opportunities that you could never find anywhere else. And what I want them to understand is that it's not about timing the market. You can't time. I mean, there are some people that argue you can time the market, but the right time to buy a house is when the right time to buy a house is for you financially. If you're not in the position to buy it financially, I don't care if the market's in a great situation for you to buy or not. So I always tell this story. I say, look, guys, here's the deal. A year before I got into mortgage, it was December of 2007. My wife, she was my girlfriend at the time. We're going to move in together and we were looking for a rental, and she had a small dog. And every single rental that would accept us and take the dog was terrible. It wasn't even livable. And what they were asking $200 or $300 extra per month just to have this little dog that she had. And this was the year before I got into mortgages. And in fact, a real estate friend of me said, you can buy a house with zero down. And I was like, really? You can buy a house with zero down? What does that look like? So I met with a mortgage guy, and it was back when anybody could get a loan. And our payment was about $1,100. And that's about what rent was going to be. And so we thought, you know what? Let's go see what we can find. Got pre-qualified, went out, looked at 3 homes, wrote an offer on 1 and got it. Didn't know what we were doing, but we knew the payment was going to make sense and it would get us into the house we wanted. This is December of 2007. So as I'm telling most of these first-time home buyers, I'm saying, look, guys, this was literally within the worst 6 months the worst 6-month window of buying a house in the history of our country. If you know anything that happened in December of 2007, it was right as the market started to slide. And if I fast forwarded to 2010, so a short 2 or 3 years later, our house was probably worth 80 or 90,000 and we paid 154,000. So we're $60,000-$70,000 upside down if we could have even sold it. But we didn't sell it because our payment was $1,100 a month. And fast forward to about 2011, it was time for us to upgrade. We'd both gotten in our careers. I was doing mortgages. She'd gotten out of college and had a pretty decent job. And so it was time for us to upgrade out of the townhome into a place with a little backyard and a garage. So 2011, we go buy a place. Didn't know that was going to be the low point of housing. It didn't matter. We were buying because it was the right time for us to buy. And we just put a renter into this little 2007 townhome, and it basically paid for our rents. We essentially broke even. We still have it. We have, of course, had the opportunity to refinance it when rates drop. So I fast forward to 2024. And remember, I bought this in December 2007. It was worth about $80,000 a short 3 years after that. Today it's worth about $325,000. We owe about $80,000. Our interest rate's at 3%. Our payment's $851 a month with taxes and insurance. Our rent is $1,700 a month that we're charging. And we've got whatever that number is, $245,000 in equity. And so guys, I'm so passionate about real estate. I just don't think there's a wrong time to buy real estate. If you're looking to buy a property and sell it within the next year or two because we're flipping, or what I like to call real estate day trading, then I don't know what the answer is to that. But I do know if you're going to have this for the long haul, 5 to 10 years, I don't care what you pay for the house or when you buy it. And so I really start like that with every home buyer that we meet with at a starting point, to just try to open their mind to think beyond the next 1 or 2 years.
So I want to break this down real quick. Go to the bottom to the net worth tab. First of all, real quick, go down there. Okay. You notice how we put net worth here. So a couple things that you could do, and maybe you consider it, and there's a reason you haven't done it, is now that you're at a positive cash flow, you could say, hey, what if you took that positive cash flow and you invested that at, whatever you get in mutual funds or whatever. And so in the net worth, right now, it's showing the power of compound interest and leveraged real estate. So by the way, I'm super passionate about educating the next generation. And there are 5 micro financial literacy lessons that you've done 3 of the 5 right here. One of those is showing options. Like anytime you get into debt, you should have options. You can compare them. You should look at those options over time. And so you've done that. And then the third one, actually, it's always the first one that I think every person going between the age of 16 and 25 should have this. Check out firsthomeiq.com, guys. It's a nonprofit that we're trying to make sure every kid gets this education. That you showed the power of mortgage leverage and home appreciation. Like, that is the greatest force in America that creates financial freedom and wealth and reduces financial stress for families. So you showed 3 of the 5 options over time and the power of leveraged real estate appreciation. The 2 other lessons that I think every human being in America should be exposed to is the power of compound interest. And you could have done that by putting in, hey, if I took that, and you don't even have, even if you're not doing it, you could say, just to see. And so you're teaching people the power of compound interest every time you talk to them. And then so that's number 4, and not in this order, by the way. But number 5 is the power of paying the mortgage, because you could have also said, and I could take that extra cash flow and start accelerating the prepayment of my mortgage, and look how much interest I'd save, and look how much faster I'd pay it off. Those 5 micro lessons, if you deliver those to every consumer, your conversion will optimize, your value for that consumer and their family will optimize, the value for the realtor will optimize. So you'll make more money, and America will be better off. That consumer will be better off. Your neighborhood will be better off. So I would imagine that you're teaching 4 of those 5 lessons to most of your consumers. Is that accurate to say?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
I love that.
Loving
Though.
this.
I've never had those 5 in my thought like that. That's awesome.
Yeah. By the way, that's some new thinking on my part too, by the way, because I'm trying to help the real estate industry, the mortgage industry. I'm, co-founded this nonprofit where I'm trying to like take things and educate them at a high school level, like things that a senior in high school would get. And I kind of came up with, how can I teach this to a high school level person? And now I'm, bringing it to the industry. So I think it's like the 4th time I've said it. It'll be the 3rd time I've said it.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, cool, man. So we got about 15 minutes left. What would be so this is a good story. And that's another point for anyone listening to this. Stories matter. Like I always tell people, like even when people go, oh, I want to tell everybody that I use the MortgageCoach software and technology and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, when you hire someone to, do work on your house, they're not telling you, well, hey, I only use Craftsman tools. And, you're like, no, it's the work that you do. I mean, I call it a MortgageCoach, call it what you want, but it's the experience that you create for a consumer that matters most. And I believe that every loan officer right now should be diving in with their realtors, saying, hey, what's your borrower or your buyer presentation? I want to see it so that I can help you. And then you've got your 6 ways. So I want to help you articulate value visually. I want to help you show consumers how you help them build wealth with real estate. I want to do all these things. What would be a really good TCA in addition to your story? And I want to push everybody have your story. And it doesn't have to be your personal story. It could be an example of a client that you helped, but you should have a story that articulates value, and you're teaching stories and strategies, which was, by the way, my point. Don't talk about technology, talk about stories and strategies powered by technology. But what would be another good story, another good strategy?
Yeah, I'll pull one up. As you're talking, I'm like thinking about great things. It's like I'm getting coached on this call too by you. So thank you. But what if all of us just immediately after this just went and said, hey, we just went through this great training and we are trying to really improve our customer experience, which will help us hold our commissions and increase our conversions. And it got me thinking about you as a real estate professional that's in our lawsuit. We've developed a little bit of a framework. And I was wondering if you would be open to get together at your office so we could go over how I could best support you with my presentation. And then would you be willing to share what yours looks like? And if you don't have one yet, maybe we could work on it together. I mean, you have a reason to call every single real estate agent and have a meeting with them today, I believe.
Boom. Yeah, no, right. And all the agents that you don't have their business with, and they have a primary mortgage professional, you have that meeting and you're like, how are they articulating value and showing net worth and how they're going to help financial freedom? How are they doing that?
Yeah.
And then stop talking.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, And by the way, you might even want to show up with a digital fee worksheet and go, oh, are they doing something like this where they're delivering a transactional experience? Back in the day, I used to actually carry fee worksheets with me, so I'd be like, oh, here's examples of what other lenders do. Personally, I don't know that you want to do this, but you might want to get some fee worksheets from some of your competition and bring them to the meeting and, hey, maybe that's cool. Maybe that's not cool. But first of all, my mission is to change how people get into debt in America, and fee worksheets are my competition. So I want to crush the fee worksheet. I want to make sure that every time a consumer gets into debt, they get options, they get cost over time, they get a lesson of how leveraged mortgage works with real estate appreciation. They learn about how to pay off their debt sooner, and they learn how compound interest works with real estate. So go out there and get them in your marketplace.
And our competition as a loan originator is low rate loan officers that are not true mortgage advisors or educators or part of the actual home buying journey. They're simply a 1003 and a low rate.
Yeah.
So
fee worksheets.
So what are you going to do to deliver better than that?
Well, before we run out of time, let's see this next story and this next strategy. I can't wait.
All right. This is one we used all the time. Especially last year. I still think it's a little bit valuable this year, is that everybody was wanting for rates to go down. Hey, we're waiting for rates to drop. And my education point was, look, here's, and what this has done is to illustrate, we just say, because here's what the real estate agents say. Well, if rates go down, prices are going to go up. And that is definitely true. So we just wanted to put some actual a mortgage coach together with it and some actual math to it and say, look, the true winners of our market were not people that bought a home in 2021 and got a 2.75% rate. The actual winners were people that bought homes in 17, 18, 19 ahead of the rate drop and then refinanced into the rate drop. And I'm not saying, and I don't believe they ever will get to this point, but we are at some point, I believe, going to see lower rates than we have now. And it is very likely that when we see lower rates than they are now, that we're also going to see higher home prices. So just to illustrate that, I want to show you what happened to somebody that bought a house in 2019. They paid $400,000, 5.75 rate. Their payment was $2,700. If that same person would have waited 2 years for rates to drop, they would have paid $600,000 for the house, got a rate of 2.75, and their payment would have been $318 more than the person in column one, and they paid $200,000 more for the house. The true winner was the person that bought in 2019 and refinanced, and now look where they're at. So we were showing this all the time and educating on how rates and prices are going to move together for the most part. And if they don't go down, that's okay. Rates only have one of three ways to go. Rates can either stay the same and you're happy you got into the house that you want to be in. Rates can go up to 8%, which it is possible, and you'll be stoked that you're in a rate of 7%. Or rates can go down if you refinance. But if we sit on the sidelines waiting for rates to go down to buy, I'm very confident in saying that you'll end up paying more for the house, and it'll end up being sort of a wash in terms of your total monthly payment.
Scroll down to the net worth. I want to see how you showed that. Oh, by the way, that would be another thing I would play with there.
Okay.
And the net worth would be better, but nevertheless, this is a great example. Also, Chantry, do you do this? We have a lot of people I interview where literally almost every purchase they're doing, they're showing kind of column one is status quo rate. Column two, it's kind of like speed to need. It might be a 2-1 buy down.
Yep.
It might be 2 points. It's kind of like what they want. And then column three is, like right now rates are at 7. So when rates get to, 6 or 5.5, or you put in whatever that next refi rate is. So you're kind of showing, marry the house, date the rate.
Yeah.
Do you do that with any of your TCA'S?
I haven't done as much on if the rates go down like that. I know what you're talking about. I specifically haven't. I actually have one on deck right now that's very similar. I'll go through this and then that'll probably be our time. But let me show you this one really quick. So
and guys and branch managers, this is what it should look like at a meeting where you have different people that are like have great concessions, low concessions. Highlands. They're killing it. They have good conversion. They're doing the right things, and you're doing show and tell. You're like, hey, let me tell you a story. Let me show you a strategy, and you're sharing that, and you're having these weekly meetings around how are we winning with advice. So sorry, I just want to push people to have more meetings like the meeting we're having right now. Like this is
and with the
everyone
real
watch
estate
the
professional.
Yeah.
How's it going? Oh, all my buyers are waiting for rates to drop. Hey, would you like to see how we have that conversation? Pull up TCA. This is, we customize this to the family. This is just a generic one that we kind of train on a little bit, but I want to educate them. So I think I told you as we were going through the presentation that we articulate our value as number one, we're going to help you choose the correct mortgage. We're going to help you write the correct offer, which is probably even more important than the correct mortgage. We are going to help you get your offer accepted, even if you're not the highest price. We're going to do everything we can in our proactive power to make that happen. So one of the most important things is writing the correct offer. So let's pretend we got a house listed for $400,000. This is what most people want to do, is they want to go in and offer this at $390,000. Okay, which is normal. You want to get a little bit of a deal. You're going to get a 7% mortgage. You're going to walk out of there with $2,947 in a payment with $24,000 out of your pocket. So this is just like a standard FHA. And I use this price point because this is about in my area what you can get a really nice townhome, or maybe like the little bit older entry level home. So mostly a first time home buyer kind of a deal. Or column two, guys, we go in and we pay $400,000, but instead of but what we're really going to do is net $390 to the seller, because we're going to ask them to contribute $10,000 to an interest rate buy down for you. So that's gonna get you a 6% rate. And remember, this will be custom. We will build this out. This is like after our meeting with husband and wife at my office or my loan partner's office. We'll walk through this. After meeting, we follow up with video, because I want the real estate agent to see this. I want them to have it to reference back to. And I'm saying, instead of offering a little bit less, I want to offer 10 grand. We're going to use that to buy your interest rate down, and we'll save you $182 a month, every single month for the life of the loan. Or option three, and then I'll educate them on what a 2-1 temporary buy down is. So we're going to go ahead and do a 2-1 temporary buy down. And this is what payments can be first year. And we talk about what the 2-1 temp buy down and how it works. And then offer four, I say, if you love the house and we're into a multiple offer situation, you are in a very competitive price point. We may be in a situation where you can't get any seller concessions, but as long as the house is still priced fairly and we still don't think we're going to have major appraisal concerns, or you can appraisal gap it. I could have shown an appraisal gap here. You may be needing to be aggressive on your offer. Instead of wanting to buy the house at 400, here's what it would look like if we ended up having to buy it at 410 and do a 2-1 buy down. I believe that doing it at 410 on a 2-1 buy down is still a better purchase for you guys than even potentially buying it at the 390. And I go into, this is where we'll spend a little time in the savings here. Okay, talk about interest paid. And then I know you're into the net worth. Maybe I need to get a little bit better at that, but I like to show this interest and mortgage insurance paid in 5 years. Look at the difference between column one, which is a 390 purchase price. Column four, we paid 410. So we paid 20 grand more, but we got 10 grand from seller. We wrote the seller a $10,000 better offer in column four than in column one, and you still paid $17,000 less in interest over the 5-year period. And I've already expressed to them how passionate I am about owning real estate, and that I barely care what they pay for the house as long as it's, within the neighborhood of what it's worth. I don't care about $5,000 or $10,000 either way. I'm hopefully going to send them out to be aggressive and not be so concerned about getting a few $1,000s off. In my opinion, that's what we're trying to do, is get them to be very aggressive with their offer. It's not that I want them to go write offers over what the home is worth, but I don't want them to go miss out on the right home because they're worried about getting a deal. I want them to understand that you can still have your cake and eat it too. We can give the seller the most amount of money, and we can still put you in a better situation.
I love this, bro. It's been a master class of a producing manager that not only kills it personally, but prepares your team to kill it. And I know you're going to do an incredible job preparing realtors in your local market to become real estate advisors who crush it. Chantry, you can stop sharing this. A few people have asked for links to these mortgage coach experiences or these things that you're willing to share, and I can put these down below.
Of course.
So guys, we'll have the slides in the file section of Trust Engine YouTube channel. We'll have links. Any of them, we have it down below if you're watching this on YouTube. You know, you mentioned, I know I'm really into the net worth thing, I think you said. And a lot of that, I mean, I've always really, even when I founded MortgageCoach, created MortgageCoach, that was like a differentiator. Like loan officers sell loans and rates. I sell financial freedom, you know, financial freedom lending. And I built MortgageCoach so that I could have that conversation whenever it made sense. But it needs to be tailored. And I do think a lot of times it's not time to have the financial freedom conversation. It's time to show that box at the bottom. And that's why we have a toggle where you could show that box in multiple different ways so that everything is about tailoring, like learning, listening to people, paying attention, and then tailoring, delivering people something that matters to them, teaching, tailor, teach, and lead. Like, and sometimes you need to step into constructive tension to be a leader. And, you know, you clearly do that well with your customers, and you truly do that well with your clients. I also was reminded recently, I interviewed someone for the first time. His name is James Allen in the New England market, and he's closing 28 loans this month. He's killing it. And he's just a badass mortgage coach. And I don't know if he said it during the interview, but before I interviewed him, it was kind of like getting to know the guy because I've never interviewed him before. And I'm like, why'd you start using Mortgage Coach? And he literally said, so I could not just sell interest rates and I could start selling net worth. I mean, like that was his why,
That's
you know,
awesome.
or one of his whys. So I do think we need to get the mortgage or the real estate industry to start selling net worth, because that's one of the most valuable parts of the job that they have. Chantry, are you cool with, you know, sometime in the next couple of weeks, if literally we did an interview, you and one of your realtors, and we did almost like a workshop of how a mortgage advisor would turn a realtor into a mortgage or real estate advisor. I'm going to assume you've already turned this real estate agent into an advisor, but we could have a conversation so we could really hear in our community from a real estate agent that you know well, and you. Is that something you'd be open to?
Absolutely.
By the way, guys, if you like that idea, give us a little reaction. And also give us a little reaction. Let us know what you thought of today's call. I mean, I thought it was an 11 out of 10. So you killed it. Yeah. So a lot of hearts. We like that kind of thing.
And when I said about your net worth thing, I hope you didn't take that as the wrong way. I honestly need to improve on that. Every time I do one of these with you, I actually learn something really cool about Mortgage Coach. And so we appreciate you always bringing the leadership. Every time I watch a call or listen to these, you're just so good at that I think all of us can take that really, truly.
Well, and I wanted to make sure I brought that in the context of like right now. Like it's always been a focus of mine, but it's never been a bigger opportunity. And I also wanted to give you guys some content. So don't take my word for it. Listen to some of the most successful loan officers, like a guy who's closing 28 loans this month and how he's doing it. So check it all out. We have 1 minute left. Closing thought, bro. Any closing thoughts in this last minute?
I think get out there and express your value. I think it's really easy for us to just get stuck in the day-to-day grind of we're just taking apps and closing loans and we're just telling realtors good service and close on time. I think that what you bring to the community is that go take that one step further. Are they empowering net worth? Are they educating families on net worth and choices and all those things way above and beyond what you really have to do to just be average?
Yeah, agreed. So in my last minute, as we wrap this up, I'm going to do a little commercial for our main sponsor, which is Trust Engine. And I wanted to show you an app, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to show it. Well, know that we are releasing a new app called the Trust Engine app that is helping loan officers speed and need, understand all the opportunities in their database and all of one app, be able to see those opportunities ranked in the order of priority, click on those opportunities, see all the data. Like, why does the data science team think that this is an opportunity? Call, text, email, and it's also got scripts. So make sure you check out Trust Engine. If your executive team, it's an enterprise only platform. We need a big database to run it, but check it out. Also, we just launched the upgrade to Mortgage Coach. 90% of the feedback has been really positive. There's been some, critical feedback, and there's been some, bugs. Know that they are getting worked on quickly. Like, we are listening to you and we are working to improve those things. Chantry, overall, how do you feel about the new upgrade that we just recently released?
I haven't had any problems. I think it's great.
Cool.
I think that this is like the second or third version that we've been involved with. I think you guys are doing great. I've noticed some things that are probably coming down the pipe, like as a temp buy down buttons and things like that I haven't played with, but I'm sure you guys will make it bigger and better every year. I love it.
We work hard to do it. So everyone, hopefully you are subscribed to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, so you're getting alerts when we're putting new videos. And we appreciate everybody. Thanks for your time and attention today. And Chantry, you're the man, bro.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you as always. See ya.
Take care, everybody. Bye.